It's currently day 6 of this Diddy trial, and there's a recurring theme here. The prosecutor is doing a very bad job at preparing their witnesses because there's not one witness for the state that took that stand and left the stand looking credible. They all got washed. And today was no different. Diddy Kane member Dawn Richard, who currently has a separate lawsuit out against Diddy herself, took the stand today at the Diddy trial. Now, she took the stand because she's a former Diddy employee. She's been around Diddy and a lot of women, including Cassie. And according to her, she witnessed a lot of things, even though those things will be called in dispute on the stand. Dawn Richards met with the feds on 8 separate occasions. She told them folks everything they wanted to know, man. She painted Diddy as the second thing closest to Satan when she met with the feds, bruh. Told them everything. Now, if she just reliving her experience, she has every right to do so. But when she took the stand to relive her experience, she got caught up in a lot of inconsistency, and it didn't show up well for her in court today.
But Dawn Richard, she testified about the Cassie Skillet incident with Diddy. And she said that after she witnessed this, that both Diddy and Harv Pierre, they kind of threatened her at 2 different times. And one of the last things Diddy had said to her, according to Dawn Richard, was, if you tell, people go missing. And during the cross-examination, which was done by Diddy's female attorney, Nicole Westmoreland, and I thought she was effective, but she was a little nervous seeming at first. That's just my opinion. She forgot to say objection, but I mean, again, that's just why I kind of thought she was nervous. But she pointed out that about 7 of Dawn Richard's prior conversations with the government, she left that part out, the whole people go missing part. And Dawn Richard would get this transcript, she would look at it and be like, I mean, I don't know, like there was a note taker there, but I don't know why that I didn't say it. She admitted that her memory has changed throughout the years. And then
she met with the feds on 8 different occasions, not 7. She made a little error there, but nonetheless, it don't matter. 8 different occasions where they're asking you, what did Diddy do? What's your experience with Diddy? Tell us all the horrible things Diddy have done to you. You don't mention, oh, he threatened that people go missing, that he will get you he will kill you. You don't bring that up. Now, she claims it's because of trauma, all right? She's a victim, trauma brain. But don't the memory gets worse, not better as the year goes on? So like a year ago or 6 months ago, when they met with you 8 different times, you couldn't recall. Now, all of a sudden, when it's time to take the stand, you recall, man, get out of here, bruh. Get out of here. Now, the Skillet incident that she's referring to is actually like her claiming that she's seen Diddy hit Cassie with a skillet, but then like her recollection of this Skillet like incident, she done gave like 4 different stories regarding this Skillet incident. So she discredited herself right then and there, bruh, because stick with a story.
The Skillet egg incident. Cassie was cooling the eggs. This is her testimony. Diddy was yelling. He attempted, pay attention, to hit her in the head. Cassie dropped down to a fetal position. Not the first time you spoke about the egg incident, is it? Dawn was very soft-spoken. It was hard to understand her. She said so it was like you heard a pan hit the wall, but you didn't see it. Now, she met with the feds on October 1st, 2024, and basically they are trying to say she heard it, but maybe didn't see it. She told the feds Diddy did hit her, but attempted and actually hitting her are 2 different things. Now, here is when Dawn gets cross-examined. Now, Miss Westmoreland, the Bulldog, tell the jury the truth. You gave 2 different stories, hitting and throwing a frying pan. 2 different things. Hitting and throwing a frying pan are 2 different things. In another statement, she said Combs actually threw the eggs and then sat the pan back down. So she's totally discrediting her story. Diddy hit her.
Those aren't variations of the same story. Those are 3 different stories. Throwing eggs at somebody, it's still disrespectful, but it's harmless. And then setting the pan down after you throw the eggs. Throwing a skillet at somebody is dangerous. Now, taking the pan and hitting somebody with the skillet is completely different as well. I believe a lot of these people, man, they're just getting deals and they're just coming to court telling the feds what the feds want to hear, bruh. She probably told one story, the story wasn't violent enough, so she told another story on like the sixth meetup. Because a lot of these people understand this is a RICO. Diddy is facing a racketeering charge. Diddy is the only man who's the only defendant on a racketeering case. A racketeering case means you run a criminal organization. You're supposed to have co-conspirators. Who's the co-conspirators? All the people you see taking that stand and testifying, they're the co-conspirators. They're the people who helped Diddy run the criminal organization the feds is claiming Diddy ran. Dawn Richards, Cassie, those people, they helped Diddy run that criminal organization. They recruited the mill escorts. They was assistants. They were there. They helped Diddy cover up a lot of things according to the feds. So a lot of these people can't really be considered credible because they're only telling the feds what they got to tell the feds, man, so they don't get included in this RICO.
They also called her out, the defense called her out on another, I guess, statement from her civil lawsuit where she had described Diddy pulling Cassie out of a car by the hair and dragging her onto the grass, and a lot of people saw. And Don Richard said, oh no, that was something that my lawyers, they messed up on. It was a miscommunication, excuse me. And then the government got, during their redirect, to say, well, you were actually thinking of another violent incident, so it wasn't completely made up.
Who's allowing these people on the stand? You filed a lawsuit where you told the feds this as well. But you also put it in the lawsuit, this elaborate story of Diddy pulling Cassie from out the van, Diddy violating Cassie, doing this thing, right, whooping on her. And then you take the stand and say, oh no, my lawyers misheard me. Bro, I don't know where my lawyers got that from. That's not true. Shouldn't there be consequences for this? Shouldn't there be repercussions for this? Adding to these stories to destroy this man's reputation and name should be a crime, especially if you're just lying about it. Now, we've seen the Cassie video, so a lot of us don't really need much more information to decide if Diddy really put his hands on Cassie or not, because he did. He put hands on Cassie. We know this, bro. But that's bad enough. Adding all the cap on top of that, bro, to me, that's just nasty and that's just foul. We've seen what Diddy did to Cassie. To me, that should be enough. He should go to jail for putting his hands on a woman. We all agree. But adding on and like compiling a bunch of cap on top of the truth is nasty work. Now, they even like approached her about a story she told where she claims that Diddy did something in front of a camera crew, in front of a lot of people, but somehow only she had the recollection of this, and the footage don't exist of this incident, even though it was done in front of a camera crew and dozens of people.
Now, Don Richard, we're picking up now at the Grand Central Festival, right? Like I mentioned earlier, where Diddy had allegedly punched Cassie in the face right before they went on to perform. They all wore sunglasses. Miss Westmoreland, the Bulldog, says, why wasn't it on video? She said there was a film crew filming their entire time. You made an allegation that he punched her. Why not on video? All day at the festival, assault happened in a bathroom, she said, not filmed. So the incident you witnessed, you were not, nobody was alone. There was cameras everywhere. So they're saying, how does a camera not pick up anywhere where Cassie, we can see her injuries? Miss Harper was there in the car and in the restaurant. I don't know why Miss Harper is not testified. Maybe she's scared. Why didn't Miss Harper say anything and corroborate her story? That's my question. She didn't tell the government about the pun-puns. In 8 interviews, government didn't ask you about pun-puns? And also, did you ever see him pull out a pun-pun or wave it around? Did you ever see him threatening anybody with a pun-pun? She said no and no to that. Again, discrediting Don Richard. This is the build of Diddy's team, and it gets stronger.
After she goes through all the incidents, all the trauma that Diddy allegedly caused her, how distraught and destroyed her life was at the hands of Diddy, how Diddy was so powerful and had a grip on her life, how she wanted to leave the grip of Diddy and just wanted to be safe. After documenting all of that in her testimony, all right, Diddy team first off, they debunked everything, all right? They debunked a lot of the cap, poke a lot of inconsistency, just made her look crazy. And then what really capped it off, by the way, right? Like what really like made her look crazy was after she went through all the trauma Diddy caused there, the defense said, hold on, bruh. So you mean to tell me this man is this horrible? He did all these bad things to you, but wasn't you just calling his phone asking for a job? What are we doing here?
Let's see what else. Oh, so Dawn Richard talked about how, she worked with Diddy from 2004 to 2009 with Danny Kane, and then 2009 to 2011 on the Dirty Money Group. And she left in 2011, and she described, Diddy would call her on FaceTime sometimes to check in, and Dawn said, the best thing to do to kind of, keep him at arm's length or keep him happy was just be nice and polite and cordial. Well, the defense kind of got up there and said, well, didn't you call him and try to work with him after that? And she, at that point was forced to say yes. And so she did, I guess, reach out and initiate communication several times first. And then the government, when they did their redirect, they got it out of her that she only reached out to him because of Kalena Harper, essentially, and Kalena wanted her to. And then it got a little spicy with Nicole Westmoreland and Dawn Richard at one point. Sorry, my papers. Because she said something like, you were very successful when you were with Sean Combs, Danny Kane, Dirty Money, and talking about how she sold all these albums. And she alluded to the fact, and she actually said the words, no offense, but you haven't sold nearly as many albums since then.
It's the same pattern we've seen with Cassie, where they showed at Kim Porter's memorial in 2018, months before she got married to her now husband, but she was dating and she was a fiance at the time. She was texting Diddy saying, yo, my life is incomplete without you. I love you. I just don't want to be one of your many girlfriends. She was still hooking up with Diddy after getting engaged with her fiance. So it's the same thing with Dawn. Like Cassie, documenting all this trauma, documenting how you wanted to get away from him, but you couldn't get away from him because he had a grip on your life. But then when you got away, you got your fiance, you were still texting him talking about my life is incomplete without you and sleeping with him and cheating on your fiance with Diddy. Same thing with Dawn. Again, even though it was not a sexual relationship, she claims that Diddy caused this much trauma in her life. She was so distraught without him, blah, blah. She left him. She was doing her own thing. She was on her own. But when them records ain't selling, she ain't getting booked for no tours like that. Them deals ain't coming in. She got to go back to a regular 9 to 5. Now she calling Diddy asking for a job, asking, yo, can I be a part of the team again? Why you want to be a part of the team again? You said, yo, this team caused you so much drama and so much trauma. Why do you want to rejoin the team? It can't be, bro. It cannot be both ways, bro. It can't be this man was such a monster and traumatized me to, yo, I want to work with him and get his money. Listen, yo, there's not enough money in the world that can make me tolerate and work for somebody who will put me through the things that they're claiming Diddy put them through. I'm sorry, bro. I can't do it. And even though that don't completely disqualify what they're saying, that don't completely discredit what they're saying, we still have to ask these questions like, what's going on here, bro? Now, I'm still waiting for a witness to take that stay incredible and leave the stay incredible, bro. So far, we don't got not one, okay? Y'all let me know in the comment section, what do you guys think? I don't want it to get mistaken. Diddy putting hands on Cassie, we've seen the video, that's wrong. But this case is not about domestic violence. It's about trafficking. And so far, I haven't heard anything that really showcases or highlights trafficking. Let me know in the comment section, what do you guys think, all right? And if you're still watching, click on this video here somewhere on my screen, and to find out how Ryan Clark tried to expose his coworker today or his friend, and it backfired badly on Twitter. Click on this video right here to find out what I'm talking about. I'm out of here, folks. Peace.